allowing for the breath to nourish the body. And becoming aware of the body and noticing this body sitting here, allowing it to really safely just sink into the surface. I'd like to welcome you here. So maybe taking the time to welcome yourself as well. And then just noticing those areas of contact of the body with the chair or the seat. Just fully arriving here. The body is already here. So allowing the mind to arrive as well. So allowing the mind to settle in the body. And bringing your attention to your feet. The mind might not be in the ground. Noticing what they're making contact with. Noticing the back of the body, the front of the body. Becoming aware of all sensations here. So every time we talk about the body, we're really tuning into sensation, this landscape of happenings in the body. There's always movement, blood moving, heart pumping, lungs contracting, expanding, cells moving around. So there's always some sensation, and all this comes out in the form of tingling or numbness or coolness, heat. However, if at this moment there's no sensation to be noticed, then that's okay too. Just noticing the absence of sensation. And just allowing the body to just really safely, fully supported, sink into the surface that's holding you. Following the pull of gravity, keeping you in place. You're not floating again. You're not floating around. You're right here, right in this place. And now, once again, tuning into the three gateways of awareness. This kind, loving awareness. Awareness is not enough. So there is an aspect of kindness, tenderness. So turning towards these three gates, the thoughts. So what's in the mind right now? Is there a lot of thinking, planning, whatever it is, just acknowledging that? And without getting carried away into the story, without getting carried away into the lists of what to do, just noticing it. And then whenever you're ready, tuning into the body. The other gateway for this loving awareness. Again, tuning into those sensations here. If you notice anything that's too difficult right now, any sensations that may be overwhelming, you can always open your eyes, shift your pose. Take care of yourself. That's what this is all about. Now, what are some emotions that might be here, or an emotion? Has it changed since you typed it out? Is it the same? Just noticing what's for you here at this very moment. And knowing that this moment is all we got. Right here, right now. How are you showing up for this moment? And you're already here, so why not? Why not get the most out of it? Why not be completely engaged with the moment? Why not allowing yourself to settle into this moment? Every time you notice the mind wandering, just bringing your attention right back to the body, the sensations here, the sensation of the breath, the body breathing. And now, as we prepare for the rest of our meditation, checking in with your heart at this moment and noticing the quality of the heart. Is it open and tender, ready to receive? Is it closed, protected? And there's nothing to change. We're just noticing. And this closeness, if you feel that your heart is a little tight, a little close, you might feel it's a little bit of heaviness on the chest. You might feel it's a contraction in the body. You might feel a tension or tightness as I say this. You might feel as a need to even run away from this. So just becoming aware of this and allowing it to be. So this is your moment and it's okay. That's what the moment brings. And if your heart feels tender, open, at ease, and just cultivating that as well, noticing how that feels. Does it feel like a relaxing body? Does it feel like there's no tension? What does that feel like for you when the heart is tender? And as you tune in this way, an emotion might rise. And just noticing that, giving it space. And this is when we can practice those gestures that we learned, placing your hand on your chest, holding your thumb, whether it's the right or the left with the opposite hand, allowing the tongue to just relax to the bottom of the mouth. Noticing if anything shifts or not. It's okay. Taking in a deep breath, following the breath in the body. And then whenever you're ready, just bringing into mind somebody that makes you smile. This could be a pet or any being in the world that when you think of it, it just makes you smile. And as you bring this being into mind, just allowing the face to soften, allowing for that little bit of a smile to come through. And now maybe just tapping into your inner child imagination, just imagining or pretending that this being is holding your hand, or if appropriate, giving you a hug. Or maybe nodding to you. Maybe just tenderly looking at you in the eyes. As you do this, just checking in with the body. Checking in with the breath. Now maybe just offering some words of kindness to this being. May you be safe. May you be protected. May you remain true to yourself. May you feel loved. May you be happy. And now, in the presence of this being, turning that around and wishing yourself the same. May I be safe and protected. May I remain true to myself. May I love myself and feel the love of others. May I be happy. And as you repeat these phrases, checking in with the body and seeing how it feels, checking in with the heart. What's the quality of the heart? If you notice resistance, well, it's just the mind protecting you. That's okay. Just notice it. And maybe even offering that resistance a thank you. And you can just say, thank you, but I'm okay. I got it. And without judgment, there's nowhere that you need to be at right now. There's nothing to accomplish. Whatever you are is perfectly okay. So bringing a sense of acceptance into where you are at this moment, who you are at this moment, by acknowledging how you feel, by acknowledging what you're experiencing. Whenever you're ready, just taking in a deep breath and exhaling long, emptying out that belly, emptying up the lungs. And whenever you're ready, just tuning back into your breath, allowing the breath to flow normally, and just paying attention to your breathing. And every time you tap into yourself in this way, noticing what's here for you, what's in the mind, what's in the heart, what's in the body. Every time you do this, this is an authentic moment. So when we talk about authenticity, we're talking about tuning into ourselves, checking in, allowing ourselves to experience how we feel. According to Dr. Gabor Mate, he's an expert in addiction and in bringing really a kind, loving awareness to the addiction process. And he says to be authentic means to know, to understand, and to appreciate who we are, to be connected to our bodies and feelings so that we're able to express our feelings with our words and with our actions. So he was reading up on him, and he would share this article from the Journal of Pediatrics, and it talks so much about authenticity. And so this article is called an integral scientific framework for child survival in early childhood development. And the abstract says that growing scientific evidence demonstrates that social and physical environments that threaten human development because of scarcity. That means something needed was not provided to the child because of stress, a child that grows up in a very stressful environment, or because of other circumstances that bring instability, maybe inconsistent caretakers, an inconsistent environment. This could be parents that are not emotionally equipped to hold the needs of the child, or caretakers that are not emotionally equipped. This is all these leads to the short-term physiological and psychological adjustments that are so psychological and physiological adjustments that are necessary for immediate survival and adaptation, which of course might come at a significant cost to long-term outcomes in learning, behavior, health, and even longevity. So this is an article from the Journal of Pediatrics. He furthermore explains that the adaptive dynamics of a child help them endure early stress or even the instability that surround them. However, those adaptations become toxic later on. So why am I explaining this right now? Why am I even talking about this? Because I believe that these adaptations are how we suppress our authenticity. And so we stop being authentic at some point in our lives because we need that connection. We need the love from our caretakers. We need to be taken care of. So we come up with all these adaptive behaviors that serve us at some point of our lives that were crucial for our survival to get what we needed. They're strategies and they're brilliant. And sometimes I like to call this the if I am this, then I get that, right? And so usually it has a lot with our need to be connected, to be loved, to be cared for. And these are all human needs. These are things that we all need. So Victor Hugo, a novelist and a poet, says the greatest happiness in the conviction that is the conviction that we are loved for ourselves, and rather loved in spite of ourselves, so that we are loved for ourselves, or rather loved in spite of ourselves. And I think that's a wonderful line, and I think that applies so much to our early years. What happens is we carry these early years with us, and we carry all these adaptations, and they stop working for us at some point. So this, if I am this, then I'm going to get that. It applies with, if I am funny, you will love me and I will be safe, right? If I am witty, you will love me and I will be safe. If I'm smart, you will love me and I will be safe. If I am pretty enough, you will love me and I will be safe. These are early adaptations for a child. What happens, we carry them over, right? And then we can see this increase even in cosmetic surgery. We can see increase in people coping with addictions in different ways. And so everything happens because we suppress our authenticity. Because it's not okay to be mad. It's not okay to be fearful. It's not okay to be sad. That's a message that maybe wasn't even intentionally given to us, but the child perceives it in that moment, in that way, right? And so, yeah, so we are true. We're our true selves. We're authentic, right? When we're connected to ourselves. when we're fully aware of our emotions and what's happening in our bodies. Is there tension? Is there tightness? As I hear something, what's happening, right? And I wanted to clarify this because a lot of the times we think that being authentic means just expressing our anger, expressing our emotions. And so there is really a fine line here in which we need to really take that time. And this is when our practice is so valuable, is so important. This kind, loving awareness. When we become aware of our emotions, we can provide what is needed for ourselves, right? And in that way, we don't put it on others. Now I know what I need, right? And so then from that place, it's much easier to express myself. So it could be very helpful. And we've been practicing this quite a bit, which is just taking a pause, right? Pause. Notice how we feel in that moment and allow for our emotion to be there and to pass, right? Science says it only takes 90 seconds for an emotion to pass. But now it's just our call for attention. And the emotion is just there to guide us. It's not there for us to act on it. It's there to kind of give us a sense of what's happening, right? For if we're angry, that means that, okay, I need to do something to protect myself. I need to make justice. I need to say something. So, but at that moment, it's not really 100% accurate. But if we give it that space, we know exactly what we need. We allow it to pass. So this is where growth lies. And we can proceed in a more helpful way. So wanted to share the acronym of STOP in case you don't know it. And STOP can be really, really valuable, mostly in moments of high stress when we are about to suppress who we are, right? And instead, we can just allow it by stop, right? So we practice stop, which means S for stop. Then taking a breath, T for take a breath. O means observe. And that means that while I'm breathing in this way, I'm observing what's happening. I'm noticing there's tightness. Wow. Okay, there's anger right now, or there's sad, or there's fear. Okay, I acknowledge that now. This is when that attitudinal foundation of acceptance, remember acceptance, acknowledging how we feel, it comes in really, really deep in here. I'm accepting, but just acknowledging, turning towards, noticing, right? So we observe, and then P means proceed. Remember, see, with authenticity, a lot of the times we think that, okay, I'm mad and I need to let people that know that I'm really mad, or I'm sad. And so I'm going to go and, dwell in this sadness and make sure that everybody knows that. But the truth is that when we just take a pause and stay with these things and stop, take a breath or two, observe, and then proceed, we proceed from a place of wisdom. We're not letting the emotion talk. The emotion can't talk. They're just there to guide us. We're not really reaping the full benefit of these wonderful things, such as emotions, if we're letting them guide our lives, if we're just being reactive to them all the time. So we got to just give them a little bit of space. That's the invitation, is to give the emotions a little bit of space, and so that we can allow ourselves to settle and see what we really need, right? So let's not confuse authenticity with our outburst of emotion, with a reaction, okay? So this means that if I'm angry, I have to let the world know that I am angry. But the truth is that anger alone is not enough, because at that moment, we're just pushing the anger away anyway. We want to fix it. We want it to go away. Therefore, I'm going to act on it so I don't feel angry anymore. We're not giving it space. We're not acknowledging it in that way. We're not doing ourselves much service. So because that anger is driving us to take action, to protect ourselves. The anger alone is not going to fix the situation. And so with our practice, it's important to know this, because if we allow our anger or our emotions, whatever it is, and I like to talk about anger because it's such a powerful energy. Anger is such a powerful energy that if we allow it to stay, just give it a little bit of space, Take a few breaths. And now really, really know what it is. Is it, what is it that I need? Is it safety? Is it understanding in this moment? Am I not feeling understood? What's happening here, right? Am I not heard, not seen? Now we have something we can work with. Now here's the wisdom that I can say, no, I'm angry at you because of this or because you did this. But now I can say, I don't feel heard in this moment. That's a lot more powerful than saying to someone, I'm angry at you because you did this, this, and that. We can't really get very much from that. But once we give it that space, we can really tune into how we really feel and express that. So the anger and the emotions are just there to kind of get us to that place. What do I need? What do I really need at that moment? And it's not something in the mind, right? When we tune into the emotion, it'll guide us. It takes practice. So every time you notice, be authentic with yourself, but just allowing it to be there, allowing it to guide you. That's the idea. And then again, don't be hard on yourself when you react. Don't be hard on yourself when you yell at somebody because, you get upset or, this happens. The thing is that you're noticing that. If you're noticing that afterwards, then you're doing great as well. So there's no judgment. It's not that I have to be a certain way. Let's not be hard on ourselves. Let's hold ourselves with this loving kindness, awareness, and compassion that sometimes it is really hard, right? And then there's also those opportunities in which we really need to take charge. We really need to act quickly, right? When something is unfair and the anger is actually placed in the right moment, right? Such as circumstances in the world, right? Such as things that are happening, justice gets us angry sometimes. But then again, what is it saying to me and how can I proceed, right? So at the beginning in the path of authenticity, you might find again that you might find yourself acting out from emotions, right? Saying everything you feel because you've been authentic to yourself in that way. And that's okay too. But our practice, our mindfulness practice as practitioners, we're taught to really allow ourselves to first be authentic with ourselves. That's the number one thing. Turn it around. What do I need? Instead of this is getting me mad. Every time we're looking outward, we're not growing. So we're turning it around. We're looking inward. So Jack Kornfield says something that's really, really beautiful. He says, love creates a communication with life. Love expands us, connects us, sweetens us, ennobles us. Love springs up in tender concern. It blossoms into caring action. It makes beauty out of all we touch. In any moment, we can step beyond our small self and embrace each other as beloved parts of a whole. WHOLE, a whole. So ultimately, I personally believe that when we can do this with ourselves in an authentic way, be authentic with ourselves, we can actually be that way for others, because then we'll understand how they're adapting. We'll understand where they're coming from. So Einstein says, we cannot despair of humanity since we ourselves are human beings. So I thought that was kind of interesting for today, since we've been talking about authenticity, and something in me was telling me last week that it wasn't really clear that, it just sometimes authenticity kind of comes in as like, I have to say how I feel. I'm angry and I'm going to speak that I'm angry. And we don't give ourselves that room to be authentic with ourselves. We just kind of expressing our anger. That's not authenticity in my point of view. Authenticity is when I can be with that myself and acknowledge it. And then really know, what is the need here? What do I need in this moment? Then I can express that. And now it's just a lot more helpful in that way for me and for others. So yeah, so I thank you for really your attention and for listening and for your kindness and for your practice. For doing this work that is not easy.